Yeah. Welcome to Brown Space Show. Once again, we're back. But before we begin, what's going on? What's going on, Cleve?
What's going on? It's been a while. Been over a
Not
month.
much, man. Not much.
Yeah, it's been over a month since
Yeah,
we met
yeah.
up.
I've been busy, man. I've been busy. I've been busy. I've been busy. So, I'm trying to make things happen behind the scene as well in front of the scene. And again, this movement is bigger than a podcast. I try to bring a little bit of everything to the table. So I just want the subscribers to know that as well.
Okay. Yeah, your signal
Can you hear me?
it's yeah, I can hear you. It's clear. I mean, you can make out what you're saying, but it kind of keep going in and out. But yeah, yeah. You've been
Okay.
definitely, you know, putting in work as far as trying to get out, more and different content of, what's going on.
Right. So today's topic, is it too late to rebuild our community? So Brother Cleve brought this to my attention. I told him I liked. So let's talk about it. So open the flip level.
All right. Well, I don't think is too late. If we're willing to sacrifice, a lot of things. Being that we have the youth that is coming up, and I'm not saying that the older generation is not able to, you know, turn their mental around, how they think, but I do know it. It's harder to get older person, to get out their ways, to do things that their grandma did, their great grandma did. It's kind of hard. But I will I will say, I think we can rebuild our community, and I talk about it all the time, but we can't have a community if we don't have families. And that's one of the things that you have to look at, like, what does family look like? Because if you look at statistics, of every race of people, who, in the United States, whether it's Hispanic, whether it's white, whether it's Asian, and you look at and you go back into the 60s and 70s, actually, one of the statistics I was looking at, it was talking about, it says that black men up until 1960 were likely to marry more than white men. And that's believable because, as a unit, we was trying to figure things out, as far as our community. So, I mean, that was the thing, get married, get a family, and try to, you know basically have a great, life. But things have come across, different things have changed in the community to where, we don't see that anymore. And you got to think, if you look at it, like I said, you got Hispanics, you have Asians, you have whites. They're married, at 50, 60%, and we are married, well, single family households is 80%, of women, raising kids in a household. So it's very important that we look at that. First of all, we have to start with that, because without family, you don't have communities. Then on top of that, if you got families, then you have someone that that's able to, um, provide as far as you know, jobs, in the community. You bring jobs back to the community. That's another thing, that our community is lacking. And trades, different things like that. And I'm not saying that, college is not the thing, but that's another thing that we lacking in our community, trades. I mean, everybody was able to, pick up a hammer, pick up a screwdriver, work on a car, plumbing, just different things like that. Um, and so to me, those are like two to three different things that that we lack, that will actually help our community. And with family, with husband, wife, and child, of course, you're keeping money, in one household. Being separated, and raising a family, you got one man on one side of the of town. Because I know that for a fact that if most men and women who are separated or don't have kids, I mean have kids, and they separated or divorced, they're not gonna live in the same neighborhood as they their ex-wife or their ex-girlfriend or their baby mama. So you got money that's all the way on this side of town, money on that side of town, and you got two separate households trying to make make ends meet, or be able to pay the bills and everything. But that's another way, that brings the stress off
Okay,
when you have a unit.
all right. You said so much. You said a lot.
Yes.
You said a lot. I think that is it too late? The answer will be it's never too late. But we're dealing with, I would say yes and no. That's why I put them. I'm gonna go all out to say yes and no. It depends on where you are in your life. If you're my age, and I'm just being honest. I'm not saying give up. I want to be clear about that. I'm not saying give up. But I am saying when you get to a certain age and you've been through so much, it depends on where you are mentally and spiritually. So let me break it down. So when I say okay, so we talk about it's really on different levels. So yes, I agree with you 200% when you said without you need family to build a community. Okay, yes, we know that. But look at what we're dealing with in today's society with this with today's woman, Western woman, with the way she's moving, with the way she's thinking. She's not even thinking about family first. She's thinking about her first. And now, when I say I don't mean all, but I will go on a limb to say a lot. A lot of them are doing that. They're putting themselves first, and they're not thinking about. It's not important to try to build a family. I don't think they understand what is at stake when it comes to building the family unit. That's one. Two, again, it's not in no particular order. And then we wonder why every time you every day when you cut your TV on, if you live in a major city, or even if you live in a city outside of the city, outside of the metro of a major city, the youth right now are running rampant. We have a serious problem. We're talking about gangs. We're talking about guns. We're talking about shootings on a daily basis. So we're dealing with layers and layers and layers of stuff. So is there a particular order in how we can solve it? Well, everything starts off with the home. So I agree with you on that part. But again, for those, what about the relationship between the man and the woman who was doing the procreation, whether they're together or not together? To me, is the beginning step. For me, I'm an expat now, so I'm coming back to visit, but I'm not trying to stay there.
Gotcha. Yeah, because yeah, I mean, like I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. And it definitely, that's why I was saying, I started off saying our youth, not to say that, the older generation and people our age and older, they're done, but we do need people our age to tell the youth, hey, listen, we have to build the community up and we have to get back to morals. Like I was saying, back in the 60s, we was married at, I think it was like 70 something percent, and we had community, we had businesses, we had anything and everything you could think of that we're trying to get now, we had that. And we was married at a high percentage. And that's why I talked about the Hispanic community, I talked about the Asian community, I talked about the white community. They have communities, and they also marry at a high percent, over 50%. So that, and I even started looking at just different numbers as far as the economics, just the economy that was, during that time that we was married at a high percent. And if you go look, I mean, 9 times out of 10, if you have a community, you're in a community and you're around people that look like you, 9 times out of 10, you're gonna spend money with people that look like you. We have so much power, if we were just to do it collectively, that we can get this thing turned back around. But we're gonna have to sacrifice, and a lot of people who's not gonna jump on board, hey, they just gonna get lost in the sauce. But we can definitely do this, but we definitely gotta start teaching this to our youth. I was looking at a show, and they just was talking about how we're bringing kids into this world, and it's not about the child, and it's not about the mother and the father, and it's not about the unit as far as marriage. It's about, I want to have a child because I want somebody to love and I want to take care of somebody. And then on the other hand, a man wants to carry on, his legacy or whatever. But what does your legacy look like if, your child is not able to grow up in a community?
Yeah. So excuse me for interrupting. Where would you start? Where would you start?
You say that again, Dan?
I say, excuse me for interrupting. Where will you start?
Me? I think I would start with, first of all, like I said, us coming together and talking about just families. Start trying to build our family up. Once we start building our family up and start, really, and listen, the church, one thing about the church that we have lost, they used to push this. And I know this because I grew up, I used to be on my grandmother and my grandfather in them church, and this is what they talked about, marriage, love, family, unity. This is what they used to talk about. Now the churches don't even talk about that no more. They talking about, independent, like the church is not even pushing that no more. They're not pushing for a family in the community. They just not. And that was
I'm gonna play. I'm gonna.
You breaking up, Daniel? I know you. I guess you were saying you're gonna play devil advocate.
Come on, man.
Okay. There you go. Now, what were you saying?
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. You say you was gonna play what? Devil advocate.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I'm playing devil's advocate. So just work with me on this one. So because it's we have so many problems. This is not an overnight thing. So let's say for the brothers who are out there who have their,
You said the brothers.
So I'm saying for the brothers who have their thing, who have their stuff together, and they see what's going on with the one-sided laws, where somebody can get into a marriage and after the divorce they can take half of a man's lifetime earnings. So you have a lot of men that don't want to even go that route anymore because of the laws. Not that they don't want to be married. It's they don't want to be they don't want to be raped of their of their lifetime earnings. And
I
I agree with that. I don't think no woman should get half. I don't care how much a man make. Should no woman get half? I believe she should earn something, but she should get something. Now, if she's with him, he's building something from the beginning. Yes, I think she should get more. But if somebody already have their wealth together and they marry somebody, and just because who disagreed or whoever filed for divorce, whether it was him or her, or whatever it was reconcilable difference or not, she shouldn't get half. No, she shouldn't get half of that. I disagree with that. That's a one-sided law. It's an old law, and it need to be revised. So a lot of good guys, a lot of good men, they're not going to go this route because they've seen so many people before them get burned on just marriage alone. Now that's just one aspect. But again, the other one is the mindset is different of a lot of these women today. A lot of them have these unrealistic expectations.
Yeah, I agree. I say this. My thought process, I think a little different. I'm not saying that this don't happen. I'm not saying that, that I haven't seen it happen. But fortunately me, I got married not with the thought process. Divorce was even on my mind. So I didn't go into.
It's not on anybody. Cleve. It's not on anybody. Don't nobody get married to get a divorce.
I understand, but
don't nobody get married to say, yeah, we're going to get a divorce.
I understand, but what my point of saying that is, I don't. You're talking about the men who are scared to take a second chance. Matter of fact, Daniel, me and you both were married once, and now we're married again. But we wasn't scared to step out there and take that chance because we know the type of men that we are. And I feel that once I knew my purpose. Once I knew my purpose and what as a man on this planet should be doing, I didn't worry about a divorce or anything like that because I knew I was going to get what my purpose and me thinking and my thought process was getting with someone, who I knew that, understood my purpose and they understood their purpose. And that's what a lot of people don't talk about, getting to marriage. They don't talk about what right. is your purpose.
I hear that. I hear you loud and clear. Everything. I'm not just saying you. I'm not saying me. But we know we've heard this before, right? We've heard guys talk like this, right?
So let's deal. Since
I'm not
men are scared.
Let me be clear. I'm not saying all guys.
No.
I'm not saying all guys. I'm saying that there are guys who seen some guys get burned and they say, "Whoa, not me."
But it's just it's the same thing with the women. They telling girl don't get married because this, girl don't get married because of that. We listen, as men, we cannot the men that are scared to get married with other. I don't even worry about them. I'm talking about the ones who want to get married, and if they feel like they can't find a woman to marry, why not? If you have kids, brothers, cousins, nephews. Talk to them about marriage and let them explain to them what it looks like and what it should be, what his purpose is, what her purpose is. That's what I'm talking about. These dudes that's out here scared to get married, right. Like, hey, if you're scared, go to church. That's how I feel. But the ones who actually want to get married, if you know your purpose, and the person that your mate knows her purpose and know what they should be doing in life, and you know what you're doing, y'all come together. See, back in the 60s and in the 70s,
okay.
Our grandparents and stuff, they didn't focus on that. And like I say, if we could start with the generation, then on top of that, if you look at back in the day, you know why marriage was so high? Because me and you are friends. We grow up. I may have a sister. Your mother know my mother. My father know your father. And I have a sister. Y'all around the same age. Guess what?
I get all of that. Cleve,
you're gonna marry my daughter.
Cleve, I get all of that, brother. I get all of that.
And our parents were forcing it on us that, hey, you have to get married.
I hear you loud and clear.
It was forced.
I hear you loud and I hear you loud and clear. I hear you loud and clear. Now, let's press fast forward, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's look at today's society and what's going on in our community. Okay, we have grown men who don't want to grow up. We have grown women who don't want to grow up. We have children who don't have, they don't even have a single parent anymore, really, because they treat their mama like they sisters and brothers. So we're dealing with a different animal, and we're talking about building a community. And I'm saying I'm not talking about what you just said. I'm talking about the present. We're not talking. We know what grandma did. We know what our moms did. We know they was big on holding that family together no matter what, even when times got tough. I'm with that. I understand that. I'm looking out the window now in the present tense. And I'm seeing kids run rampant. I'm looking at 50-year-old woman who she don't even want to accept motherhood. She don't even want to fully accept being a grandmother. I'm looking at 50-year-old woman who want to dance on a stripper pole at 50.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we're dealing with. And we're talking about if that's 50, then it's like, don't nobody want to grow up. Oh, and again, I don't want nobody to think I'm just attacking women, because I'm saying both. I'm saying we have some men out here that don't want to grow up. We have some men out here don't even own a pair of slacks. Who never even worn a suit before.
See, okay, you're talking about that generation. I'm talking about you're talking about that generation
right now. No, listen to what I'm saying. Yeah. We have to talk about the present, because right now this is what we're dealing with. We can't look back at what we used to do. I'm talking about building. That's the subject.
Daniel, I'm talking about, for instance, like anyone that's watching the show right now, if you understand and realize what we're saying, that family is important. If you have a son, a daughter, a niece, nephew, anyone like that, you need to have these conversations with them. I'm gonna tell you what I want to do. I don't know if it's gonna be able to do. If I'm gonna be able to do it because of COVID and all that. But I would love to take these young. I would love to start getting young guys, taking them on a field trip, taking them, Daniel, and sitting them down inside family court, and let them sit there and see what they go through. Because I understand what you're saying as far as how men get scared and nervous or whatever, and show them exactly what families go through, and show them how a man end up on the bad end of the stick, and how the system is made. And tell them, listen, this is what they expect you to do. This is what they expect you to go through. Let's do the total opposite. Let's do it different. Let's not have a child until you're married. Let's not have kids until you're married. And I'm talking about youth. I'm talking about 17, 18, 19, 20-year-olds, taking them on these field trips and sitting them in the courtroom and saying, hey, look, this is what happens if you be out here.
Are you saying that they're going to learn?
Not committing to marriage.
So, question. So, question. You saying that you would like to take these kids on a field trip to a divorce court?
No. To family. Well, yes, to family court. To family court. No, not divorce court. To family court, because it's not married. They're not married. I'm talking about family court, to where they can see what the child support system take them through when they're not married and when they out here having kids, and they put them on child support, because it's serious. It's deep out here. That's one of the biggest problems. Why that's one of the biggest problems why men don't push to get married, because they think that I'm going to end up divorced, and that's what I'm going to end up paying. That's what I'm going to end up. That's one of the biggest things that men talk about. They scared that.
That's what I was. That's what I was saying.
Yeah. I'm agreeing with you. That's
what I was saying earlier.
Yeah. So if you put them through, you put them guys inside. You understand what
I'm saying? Because they want to be married, but I hear what you're saying. So in my opinion, I think that, again, I think these guys want to. Of course, they want to get in a marriage, because they want to get into a serious relationship, because it's in us to have companionship, whether you have the paperwork or not. That's a different argument for a different day.
And that'll put the
but
mindset of these
I
young
think
guys.
I think we need to go and rewrite the laws. But the thing is, these laws are old laws. The laws need to change. That's all. See, the laws change. See, the laws are that's like the steering wheel. That's the steering wheel of the vehicle. That turns you and steers you in the direction in which you would like to go. Now, if you look at these laws, most of these laws were designed when woman wasn't working, but the law still exists on the book. See, I think what's wrong in our today's society, I think it depends on the law. So, for example, slavery was legal.
Mm-hmm.
They wasn't doing anything illegal according to their law. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So,
just because
but
it's law,
again,
right.
if you look back in the American history, but it's still a law. But it's still the law. So the thing of it is, but it's still the law.
Yeah. Like I was saying, just because it's the law don't make it right.
I'm just sticking with the fact.
Yeah.
It ain't even about right or wrong at this point. It's about what the laws need to change. So, in other words, if the laws change where they have some type of balance, the guys wouldn't worry about getting married because they'll say, you know what, even if we break up, I know that she's not gonna take my life earnings.
But even before the law,
I don't think somebody should come into somebody like. Well, let me finish though. Let me finish my point.
Yeah.
So my point is, you had once upon a time in this society, woman was not working. So you had some guys out here that was not responsible and didn't do what they're supposed to do. I understand that too. I'm not saying every man should take care of his offspring. Let me be clear about that. I'm not an advocate of that either. But what I'm saying is those laws were established because of what happened then. But now in today's society, women are working and women are making a damn good living. And that's all across the board in today's society from every race. It doesn't matter. They are working and they're in the field that they want to be in. They are being where they want to be in their career of working, right? So, but those old laws still exist from when their grandmother and great grandmother was having those hard times. For those did have a hard time.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't make sense. That's why I say it need to be revised. Now, again, you do have some states have revised. Georgia did revise. Now they go by, they look at both incomes and balance. But at one time, it was one-sided as well. It was just like, okay, well, you just go ahead and pay this. Because this right here, this put men in a very disadvantage. And I'm not trying to, again, I want every man to take care of the child. But we've seen crazy stuff. We've seen a whole lot. We know friends. We've heard stories of people going through hell.
You going in and out
because two adults decided that okay. They decided to break up for whatever reason, and the law, when they went to the court of law, the law was on the female side 90% of the time. I'm gonna say 95% of the time. I'm gonna say 98% of the time.
So
can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. So you're saying these laws was back with our grandparents, right? You said that these laws was back in our grandparents, right?
Yeah, because they wasn't. No, woman wasn't working. Like they wasn't in. They weren't in the careers that they are in today.
Well, it happened when during the war when people start coming back from the war. So they did that to help the women. I totally get that.
I understand that.
Yeah. So let me say this. So back then we was married at a high percentage, right? We was married at a high percentage. So the problem is even that system was still there. The problem is that we, men and women, and mostly women, women have taken advantage of the system. And what has happened is now they use the court system, I don't think no time that the court should get involved with a man and a woman, being able to come to the understanding of their child, because they wasn't in the room when the baby was being made. So why should they be in your business anyway?
Right.
But we not to that point. I mean, we to that point where they get the court system involved. But what I was saying is back in them days, our grandparents they was up under the same law. The difference is it wasn't being abused and it was enforced, because other race of women don't push the issue. They have the same laws. Matter of fact, in California, these rich folks that they was making a killing. You see what Dr. Dre and all these guys is going through a divorce. But the difference is that our women push it. They push the issue on it. I even heard a woman, say that because he don't, and this is another show. What should a man be able to see if his child if he don't pay child support? And she was like, he's not giving me no, he's not picking up the child when he's supposed to, so I'm not gonna let him see him. And I'm like, oh my goodness. Like, it's not even about the child no more. Now parents are few. It's not even about the kid no more. It's about how she feel and how he feel. It's sad, but and that hurts the community, because without family unit, you have no community. Without family unit, you have no community. We see 80%. Daniel,
I'm having
80%.
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Of the household, 80% of women are a single parent, and we see what the community look like with that happening, and then we could go back and look at the statistics of what the household looked like when we was married, and look at the crime, and look at the kids.
But again, we have normalized, but in the Black community, we have normalized it. It's became on now. It's normal now.
I didn't hear you. I heard you say normalized.
Can you hear me? I said we normalized in our Black community. Single parent is normal. We normalized being a single parent.
Yeah, and they say that's family. That's not family. A mother and kids is not a family.
And that's not family.
No, that's not family. That's not. You can't have a community like
we
that.
Have made it. We normalized that. We have normalized them.
Yeah, we have.
I disagree.
So I think
this is part of the problem, because it's okay. If the woman was married, it was frowned upon.
Yeah. You
listen. Kids, and he wasn't married, it was frowned upon.
I don't think that. I think, like I said, I think one of the things we got to get back to is men and women. We have to be able to communicate. That, like, we do not communicate, and we go at each other. In our community, I mean, we just go at each other to the point where we don't want to speak to.
I agree. I think our biggest problem is we don't. For those that do break up, for those that do split, they forget about the children first. I think if they did that, some of these marriages could save. They did that, even though the marriage isn't saved, they should be very good co-parenting, because you have community, and it's good, it's healthy for that child to see the mother and father verse in a silver is talking bad about the other.
You going in and out, Dan. You going in and out.
Profane. Yeah. Okay.
You going in and out.
Can you hear me now?
You breaking up bad.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now.
man. Okay. I said if they focus on putting the children first, whether they like each other or not, if you put the children first, it helps the child. There's no need to disrespect one just because you guys are no longer.
Go out, Daniel, and come back in. Go out and go out and come back in.
Okay. Okay. Let's see.
A little technical difficulties.
How about that?
Okay.
Yes. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Can you hear me? Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Am I frozen?
You
frozen.
freezing up a little, yes.
Yeah. Okay. But basically, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Hello.
Yes.
I was
can hear
saying
you.
if you put the child first and put it,
yeah. I think you said put the child first.
And respect each other. Put the child first. And understand that when they bashing each other, they mad at each other, that hurts the child hurt more than they do.
Yeah, they do. And they don't, couples don't understand, like, listen, like I said, back in the days, I will, I will, like, with the court system and whatever, matter of fact, they frowned upon bringing the court system in our house because we knew that it was not for our best interest. We knew the police coming to our house or getting the court system. We knew that there is a possibility they're going to take our kids from us or separate us. We knew these things. So as a unit, we would never take it to the court. Now, it's like that's the first place they run to. You and this man should be able to sit down and have a conversation like, hey, listen, I know we didn't work out, but look, because most men, and I'm not saying all, listen to what I'm saying, most men want to be with their kids. And most men would love to be able to interact with their girlfriend or wife or ex-wife or whatever, because we know in order for us to be able to see our kids, we have to be able to interact with y'all, because 9 times out of 10, y'all are the ones who's going to have the child. Like, it's sad that we have to actually let someone who has no best interest for our child to come and tell us how we should be able to see our child. Do you know how painful that is for a father, for a man or a woman who don't even know me or know my child or know my ex-wife or my baby mama, and gonna come and tell me, hey, you can only see him when you want to see him. That's like putting a dude in jail and tell him, listen, you can only have visitations when we tell you can have visitation. It's the same thing, man. And I don't think women or people see that. Like, that hurts for a person to tell you when you can see your child. Like, how did we get here?
In this particular case,
you did, Daniel, but you clear now.
And this, okay, good. In this particular case, men suffer the most because in most cases, the children are with the mother.
Yeah.
So we that's when we suffer the most.
And it hurts our community because, like I said, 80% of women are single raising kids, and we see what our community look like. These boys, these daughters, they need men in these households. Stop having kids and not getting married. And I hear people say all the time, it ain't that. I mean, so what about the men? I'm talking about him too. Stop having kids and you're not married, because 9 times out of 10, that child, we seen this over and over again. We see what the income is, man. We see the last result. These kids are not. These kids are not going to get a fair chance in life if they don't have both parents in the household.
Right.
They
I
just
agree.
not. Our communities need this. Our communities need this. This help bring money in one household. Think about, you got two parents, one makes 60,000, the other one make 40,000. You put that together, that's 100,000. You know how much money that brings to that community? So if you got stores and plumbers and all types of different businesses, and that's another thing. If we was to come together, one of the things I think we have to start off and build up our family. That's one way that's one of the biggest things we have to start, because without family, you have no community. Then once we get our community back up, then we start going to legislation and tell them, hey, look, we'll put you in office. We'll put you in office if you represent us and do this for us. Because that's basically what's going on right now.
I mean, but at this point, we don't even understand.
That's later on, though, Daniel.
Yeah, that's later on.
Yeah, that's later
because
on.
we
don't
gotta
know. Start with family.
Yeah, but we don't know the political game though at all.
Listen, but it's not that hard. It's money. It's money. You could put politicians in. The Jews do it, and I hate to even mention them because you know how they are about you saying their name. But this is how they play politics. They get their money up in their community, and they go. These politicians said, "This is what we want. We want police. We want this. We want that. We want rights. We want." I mean, that's how they do. And if you look at it.
I'm gonna be. I agree with Self-Made. Hold on a second, Cleve. I hate to interrupt you, but Self-Made said you don't think that the community can be saved if accountability and the mate selection are not addressed and that's what I'm saying. It's a huge problem of accountability.
I agree. I agree.
I mean, these adults got to start being adults.
They do.
They got to. But I'm telling you, they don't want to grow up, bro. If I'm listen, you're gonna know me from my son. I'm not gonna be walking around. I'm 48 years old. I'm not gonna be walking around with my pants hanging off my ass, and my son wearing around with his pants hanging off his ass, and you don't know who's who. You're gonna know that that's his father, and that's the son, and that's the father. If you see us walking side by side, you're gonna know. Because we ain't gonna even be dressing alike. You understand what I'm saying? I'm saying, man, we don't know
but like you're saying, Dan, that comes from the man being in the household, teaching him, son, this is not how you're gonna move, and the mother being there to nurture the whole situation. Like, men and women have to be on the same accord, man. We cannot have community. We see what it looked like when we have communities when we do not have the husband, the wife, or man and woman.
Well,
the man and woman.
At it right now. But that's why we're suffering, because he's not in the home.
Yeah.
That's when you cut the TV on and you see these young guys out here. Most of these guys don't have fathers. That's the problem. I mean, of course they have a father biologically, because they had to have a male to mate with their mother, but he's not active in that boy relationship, in that relationship. For whatever reason, he's not there.
And I talk to women all the time, and they always say that's because the father don't choose to be there. And I always look at them and say, so explain this to me. If you just look at your circle, you just look at people that's around you, is that the way the men are moving around you? The men that you see, like your brother, your cousin, your uncle, is that the way they moving? No, you don't see that. You don't see that, because if everybody was to just look at their circle, most men want to be in their kids' life. They just do. Right. They just do. We just got to get back to communicating and leaving people that don't have our interests out. Right. Mothers and fathers should be able to talk and communicate.
But again, and again, like I said earlier in this podcast, it's layers and layers and layers and layers. And again, I'm agreeing with Self-Made. Leadership does start off with the man. Let me say that.
Oh, it do.
But Self-Made. But let me say this, Self-Made. The problem is the reason why the relationship between the man and the woman is kind of, well, a lot of it. I can't say all, because a lot of them start procreating a little bit too early. Can you hear me, Cleve?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you.
He's frozen. A lot of them procreate a little too early to even have the mental capacity to manage a family, to have the mental capacity to nourish a family, to have the mental capacity to understand I have an offspring and this is my number one priority. And I think that is a large percentage where we suffer the most.
Yeah. And I will piggyback off of that and say that if you look at it, like you said, young, you got women that are growing up, thinking that, they got to get a man that making six figures at the age of 25, 26, 27. That is absurd. Like that's a small percentage of men that's even making six figures, a very small percentage. When you especially when you go to black men. And me saying that, most men are average. Most men make an average salary. So when you look at the men who make six figures, I think it's like 9% or 6% or something like that. You overlooking 94% of the men that's out here.
Cleveland.
Mm-hmm.
Most Americans, most people in the world, are making average, regardless of what.
I know. But I'm talking about in our community.
But I'm just saying, okay. But most of us, okay, even in our community, okay, most of us, damn near 100% of us are making normal salaries anyway. Average.
That was my point.
At the bottom.
That's my point. Yeah. So guess what? You can get with a man that's making 40,000.
Yeah, that's true. She could get with a man making 40,000.
You could get with a man that making 40,000 because hell, great grandma, he was making but 6,000 a year, and they was able to make a family. And I think that's what we fall short.
But grandmother wasn't driven by money.
That's my point. That is my point. That's the point I'm trying to make. Like
grandmother wasn't driven off money. See, this is a different breed right now we're dealing with. That's what I'm talking about.
That's what I'm saying. So these are the things that we have to pay attention to. We have to pay attention to. Like we can't. Our daughters are coming out here looking for men that's making that type of money, and of course, that type of man, hey, he's the pick of the. I mean, he pretty much can have any woman he wants. So you may be 1, 2, or 3, but the average man, they look over. I have heard women so many times say, "Oh, I couldn't be with a man that only make 40,000." So you overlooking 94% of the men or 96% of the men that's out here that's out here in our community. You overlooking them. So you're trying to get a man who's making six figures. Can you hear me, Dan?
Because she's money driven. And don't get me wrong, money is a necessity in our society, in today's society. Since they start inventing money, but that shouldn't be like the only reason why you.
But most men don't get to that point most men don't get to that point today in their 50s making close to six figures. Come on, man. Like most men don't get to that point. Today, 50-some years old, man.
Here's the thing. First of all, I'm not a big component of high value. I don't even believe in that shit. But but I'm just saying, it's to me it's about a quality inside the person that makes the person a woman. So again, if a woman talking about if she's talking about figures, then and any guy that is listening to this, if a woman is talking about this in the conversation, in the beginning of a conversation, leave.
Yeah.
If it's that important for her to have a certain amount of money, because if she don't have that certain amount of money, she's not happy, or she feel like that's not the life that she choose off your earnings. She talking about your earnings. Think about that. It ain't about what she bringing. Most of them talking about what they want the other guy to, what they want the guy to bring. And again, this is why a lot of them are not finding people, because they don't know how to look, because they're looking at something totally different. They're looking at the wallet, and that's a very small percentage.
Yeah,
and that's why you're gonna.
That makes
and
that's why
and that's why they're gonna stay single.
Yeah, it's a very small percentage of men that make that much money.
And we talking about black men in America. It ain't a whole lot.
Plus, it's not that many of us here. Like, yeah. So
right.
it's
already more men than women. So you already dealing with that. I mean, more women than men.
Yeah.
It's already more women than men. Then you're dealing with that. Then you're dealing with the men who have the alternative lifestyle, who are gay. Then you're dealing with the men who are incarcerated in prison. So you don't have do you have options? Yes, you have options, but you don't have the option that you think you have. That's what I'm talking about. You don't have the option that you think you have, and that's part.
That's another topic. That's another topic.
Yeah, that's another topic.
That's another topic. But me saying, as far as the money, average men, and because that makes a big portion of our community. Average men making average salary, living an average life. That makes up and that has hurt our community, because so many of average men are overlooked. They're overlooked.
Right.
And you're looking for a small percentage of men.
All right. I agree with you. So we're gonna bring this thing. Go ahead. No. We're gonna bring this thing to a close. However, we could take this thing for days, because it's so much. It's so much to go that's going on in our community today. It's so much. So in closing, as we always do, what you got to say, bro?
All right, I'm gonna say, hey, go, hit the like button, subscribe, share with a friend. We appreciate everybody that step up. What's up, fool? Appreciate you checking in.
We got to get you on the show. We got to get you. Need to come back on the show, bro.
Yeah. We got to get you back on here. I'm gonna say, listen, every since the 60s, at one time, we were the highest married, race, in the United States. And it's sad, because every other race, they have a community, and in that community they have, jobs, and they have, just businesses. They have all these things, and that's because they have family. Because without family, you have no community. So we have to work. We have to get back to family. Listen. We gotta stop. Out here just, having seeds and knowing that we're not gonna be with the mother. We have to leave. We definitely have. And ladies, y'all gotta definitely stop having all these kids, and not having a father in the household, and not marriage, not doing marriage. So, and that's my last word.
All right. I just want to say, before I begin, let me say, I want to thank all the subscribers for your support. I appreciate you. I appreciate you from the bottom of my heart. I will get better with this internet thing. I got to go back. When I get back to the States, there's a device that I can buy that I can get around with this static. It's not the actual internet per se. I think it's because I'm on this island. If the weather get bad, it get crazy. It's very sensitive. And so I thought it was just my home. It's not just my home. It's throughout the island. And this is a very large island, by the way. But anyway, thanks for your support. I appreciate it. For those who haven't subscribed, please hit the subscribe button. It costs you nothing. It doesn't cost you a thing. This is a movement. We're trying to take this thing to higher heights, and we cannot do this without your support. I want to also let you know this is bigger than a podcast. I'm doing a variety of things. So I got some more things that are coming up. I'm not going to talk about it. You will see it, because again, this is a movement. So on that note, we out. Peace.